No Jordy Nelson, the #1 red zone team in football. I think he's going to hang a dozen next year. I'll go for it. 12 touchdowns.
All right.
I'm going coin. Have you seen this deal? Maybe you didn't. Maybe you heard about it and you didn't quite get the details. $13 million coming to Jimmy Graham in year one of this deal. That tells you how important the Packers thought that this signing was. And that was nowhere near where the Saints were willing to go with him. So it was the Packers against the Packers once they got to those numbers. Very important signing.
Well, let's be real.
But
all tight ends got broke off this year. Henry Great raked in $41 million.
And speaking
Trey Burton got paid.
And speaking of tight ends, breaking guys off, I feel like I'm going to see him dunking on dudes out here where we're familiar with his basketball background. So I think I just gave him his new nickname, Graham Mama. I see that back shoulder fade in the end zone. Him just going up and dunking on cats like old school Larry Johnson with the go-to Graham Mama.
How about a Lambeau leap and then the free throw from the crowd?
True.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. Aaron Rodgers, Kendall Gill. I like it, man.
How jealous are you that he can do that in 2 minutes in the break?
No, game's on. We'll see.
Okay. What is the first thing that comes to mind when I say Michael Crabtree to the Ravens, guys? Michael Crabtree is there. Granted, didn't pass his physical, so he is out of there. Danny Woodhead decides to retire. It has been the story of the Ravens to get some receivers and to keep them healthy. Now they've got Michael Crabtree, a guy who averaged 850 yards a year for the past 3.
All right, I'll jump in. This is, it's 2 words, but it'll make sense. Forevermore. You know what I'm going with this?
No, Nate, I don't.
It's,
Forevermore. What is that half-mast eyes?
It's Edgar Allan Poe, the Raven. Okay, are we familiar with that story? It's about the guy that's tormented by the Raven that could be his magic. Anyways, I feel like Mike Crabtree is tormented by his love for the sport.
Nevermore.
Nevermore.
Never.
I thought it was forevermore.
No, but you changed it to Forevermore.
I did.
It's a pun. Shh.
That sounds like lapse.
Nevermore. It was Nevermore. Good job.
I'm going tread, as in the tread on this tire that I just drew here. I did find it interesting that he was due $7 and change from the Raiders this year. The Raiders then signed Jordy Nelson for $7.5 on a 2-year deal. Yeah. The Raiders believing that they get more out of Jordy Nelson at this point. The Ravens, this guy's 2 years younger. I think he's still got some tread left on the tires. They've needed a #1. I think they might have a #1.
Cool tire.
Bonus points
Thank
for
you.
an illustration. I love an illustration.
I like Nate quoting literature. For Jimmy Graham, A Tale of 3 Cities, or is it 2? I don't remember.
It was a pun.
Yeah, sure it was. I'm going to go with this from Michael Crabtree to the Ravens right here. It's not just for pulling all-nighters in college anymore. I'm going to be honest with this jolt, all right?
Okay.
The Baltimore Ravens are a very well-run organization. They have very good players. They've had some good success. They've been a tough watch, truly. They've been a tough watch on Sundays. I don't get terribly fired up to see the Ravens offense. Crabtree's always into something. Way back with Sherman, we know Talib. He's always into something. He instantly makes them much more watchable and gives a jolt, and I'm watching them.
I feel like we'll add a surge to their offense.
Yeah, okay. I see you working.
What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say Danny Amendola to the Dolphins? Put it on your whiteboard. The first thing, word association, that you think of. Oh, go ahead, Nate.
I'm jumping right in. Okay, we're looking at the highlights, but the first thing I think of is Welker.
It's a reverse Welker.
Reverse, that's exactly what it is. It's Wes Welker. Here's the thing. They've been compared their whole career, and as soon as a smaller white receiver starts lighting up the league, say, oh, he's just like Wes Welker. And the whole story is Wes Welker was shipped out of Miami because he couldn't play there, and then he goes and becomes a superstar and a household name in New England. Here's the thing. Danny Amendola, he goes and makes plays. He is a household name. He balls out in New England. He's a champion, and he's going back or down to Miami because he can play. He's not getting shipped out of anywhere. So I think of Wes Welker, but it's in the reverse way because he's a baller. Shout out to Danny Amendola and Welker.
Bizarro Welker.
I like it.
I dig it.
Bienvenido.
I'm going deserved, and the pattern here is I keep talking about these guys' money, and I hate to keep doing that, but in this case, he's getting $6 million. That's more than he made the last 3 years from the Patriots combined. He kept having to take pay cuts, play for like $1 million and change, $2 million and change, but now with Julian Edelman down, he was able to show what he could really do, and in the fourth quarter of that game against Jacksonville, he showed you his value as a receiver. receiver, as a return guy. This is what they need down in Miami. They got it. Very well deserved.
Touchdowns in the playoffs.
Yeah, and he earned that nickname, Danny Playoff. I think he's going down to Miami is going to be Danny Payoff, okay? I know there's this recency bias that everyone is convinced that Danny Amendola is this magical elf who shows up playoff time and just balls. Danny Amendola has had over 60 catches 4 times in his career. He's had over 80 catches in his career. This goes way back. He didn't just show up recently and start being great in the playoffs. Danny Amendola can play. They will get him the ball. If Jarvis can get 100 in that offense, Danny can get 60, 70, 80. I'm in.
Him and Albert Wilson will be a huge part, security blanket for the quarterback down there in Miami. All right, what's the first thing that comes to mind when I say Richard Sherman to the 49ers?
Okay, I'm going to talk to one viewer directly here, and I hope he's watching. It's Howard Katz with the NFL. He makes the schedule opener, okay? I know you hear me, Howard. I want to see the 49ers playing the Seattle Seahawks in the opener. They've done this before. Even before Darrelle Revis got traded from the Jets to the Bucs, they scheduled that opener. They were right. That wound up being the storyline week 1. I want to see these two guys go at it week 1.
In Seattle, Richard Sherman was known as the Terminator, and his nickname was Shermanator, so I'm going with Sherman-Niner. Listen, this is going to be his nickname. He's going to ball out up there. He's recreating himself, recreating his story. He's no longer a Seahawks. You got to let it go, Seattle.
Sherman Niner. I'm going to quote Detective Somerset and go back to Kevin Spacey shaving his fingertips off.
Whoa.
Wrath. One of the deadly sins. Wrath from Richard Sherman, who wanted to play the Seahawks twice. There was a fan who tweeted at him. He said, like, the 12s don't forget. And Sherman responded, neither do I. Wrath and as must-see TV Niners Seahawks.
Cannot wait. Little upset we're not going to have Crabtree and him going at it.
Yeah. Beside myself upset.
Yeah.
Of course I am.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. We might have a special guest in town. Who knows? I think Peter Schrager will be back with us. So keep it here for Up to the Minute. And then you've got Total Access. We've got Draft Prospects stopping by the studio on the West Coast. NFL Network's where you need to be to get set for the draft.
Shout out to Mikey, too.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Mike.
Thanks for mounting
Thank you for having me.
I am the one.